I want to begin with a question this morning. So here goes. Are you living your best possible life? Are you living your best possible life? I think that question merits reflection, and indeed you may want to raise questions of your own. What would that look like? How will I know? What if I am not? What is my best possible life? Maybe you can hold these questions in your mind as we look at the story of the Samaritan woman at the well. This story is to be found only in John's Gospel, and according to the Women's Bible Commentary, this is significant because it is only in John's Gospel that women are Jesus' main conversation partners in 3 stories that reveal Jesus' identity, his vocation, and his nature, and what it means to be a faithful disciple. Men do not have a monopoly on faith and discipleship in John's Gospel, but rather the Gospel of John narrates a faith that would not exist without the participation of women, beginning with the wedding at Cana, the Samaritan woman at the well, the woman taken in adultery, and Mary and Martha. It is within this setting that we meet the woman at the well. Jesus' disciples have gone to the nearby village to buy food. And in the heat of the day, this woman comes to the well to draw water. By coming to the well in the hottest part of the day, this would indicate that in some way she was not part of the community of women. But nowhere does it say to us that she is a woman with a reputation. She could have had 5 husbands because each husband had died, and she then had to marry his brother in accordance with Jewish law. We do not know. What we do know is that she has experienced loss, pain, disappointment, and suffering. We are told the man she currently shares a home with is not her husband. This is a woman who understands about the loss and the hardening of heart that comes when relationships end. She has probably had a few dreams shattered, a few ideals broken. And in some sense, she's doubly sad because she comes on her own during the hottest part of the day to draw water from a well. She does not appear to have a community of supportive women around her. So I wonder, do you think she is living her best possible life? Do you think that she's flourishing? From the information we've been given, her life does not seem to be one of contentment. I do not believe that she was being cherished. I believe that she was just surviving each day. And Jesus breaks into her world. Jesus defies cultural norms, and he asks for a drink of water. And she's astonished on 2 accounts, his gender and his ethnicity. Jews and Samaritans hated each other, and I'm not underestimating that. The word is hate. The Samaritans built and worshipped at the shrine on Mount Gerizim, a shrine that competed with the temple in Jerusalem. This was indeed a scandalous request, as a Jew could not even use the same utensils as a Samaritan. In the previous verses, Jesus had an encounter with Nicodemus, a learned priest who, whilst impressed by Jesus' knowledge and miracles, seemed unable to allow the Holy Spirit into his life, so that his life could be transformed beyond the laws and observances of his faith. Here we have Jesus having another conversation with the Samaritan woman, demonstrating that the grace of God is available to all and will not be bound by social conventions, by racial prejudice, or indeed by gender. Jesus breaks down barriers, and in response to her question, he offers her living water. Living water. What is it? Living water satisfies our spiritual thirst. St. Augustine says, There is a God-shaped vacuum in every man that only Christ can fill. There is a God-shaped vacuum in every person that only Christ can fill. He says our heart is restless until it rests in you. Living water is that experience of God's forgiveness and unconditional love. It is the knowledge that we are worthy and that he cherishes us. It is when we have that personal experience of God that we are overwhelmed by God's love for us and the potential that we have in him. It is when we break free from all the clutter that binds us and we begin to see things from God's perspective and choose to live a life in obedience to him. A life where we want to be in God's will. And that is the best possible life. Because it transforms us, it allows us to break out of the trivia in our lives that imprisons us, and it allows us to move towards Christian discipleship and the radical lifestyle on which it is built. This is what it means to receive living water. And with it comes healing and restoration and confidence. Our scars are made precious by God. Our brokenness is made precious by God. Have you heard about a Japanese art called kintsugi? Kintsugi is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces together with gold, built on the idea that in embracing flaws and imperfections, you can create an even stronger, more beautiful piece of art. Every break is unique, and instead of repairing an item like new, the 400-year-old technique actually highlights the scars as part of the design. Sometimes in the process of repairing things that have been broken, we actually create something more unique, beautiful, and resilient. And that is what the living water does for us. When we receive the living water that Jesus offers, our lives are transformed and we begin to live our best life possible. And that is one where we are in a close relationship with God, spending time in his presence and becoming more Christ-like in our behavior and in our attitudes. And so the woman at the well embarks on a theological discussion. But first, there are practical questions. You want to offer me water, but you do not even have a bucket. How can you draw the water? Are you more important than our ancestor Jacob? The woman wants the living water so that she is never physically thirsty again, and she would quite like not having to come down to the well every day. It is at this point that Jesus shares details of her personal life. He does not judge her or condemn her. He just says, I know you. I know you. And Jesus is saying that to you this morning. I know you. This conversation illustrates Jesus' ability to really see us, the bits that we hide from everyone else. In the hymn, Will You Come and Follow Me, which we will sing later, there is a line that says, will you love the you hide if I but call your name? Will you love the you hide if I but call your name? We cannot hide from Jesus. Secondly, the woman sees Jesus with different eyes. Who is this man? And she embarks on a theological discussion. She asks the question. She says, I can see that you are a prophet, so you should know the answer to this question. Where is the proper place to worship? By revealing to the woman her personal history, Jesus becomes more than a rabbi. He is a prophet, and they are having a theological conversations. Some commentaries have called this encounter a psychological ploy on behalf of the woman to move the conversation in a different direction because she is ashamed. But for me, the Women's Bible Commentary gives a better explanation, which I leave with you. The text presents the woman as a character who is unafraid to stay in a conversation with Jesus, who recognizes that a prophet is the perfect person of whom to ask her question. The woman is the first character in the gospel to engage in a serious theological conversation with Jesus. Jesus answers her saying that it is not about a physical place of worship, but about the Spirit of God being a living presence in the heart of humankind. The woman knows her theology, and as the conversation progresses with Jesus, there is an awakening of knowledge and her faith grows. She says that she knows that the Messiah is coming and that he will proclaim all things. He will have the answers. And Jesus says, I am he, the one who is speaking to you. The woman has been on a journey with Jesus, and as the conversation progressed, she has come to the realization that he is the Messiah, and she has become a witness. She leaves her bucket behind and goes into the town to tell the people, I have met this man who has told me everything about myself. Can he be the Messiah? To witness Jesus, to see Jesus, and to tell others about experience is one of the primary marks of discipleship. She has become a disciple. Are you a disciple this morning? So we started the story with a woman who is no stranger to relationships, having been married 5 times, and now living with someone who is not her husband. A solitary woman coming to the well in the midday heat, a scandalous encounter with a man and the offer of living water. A theological discussion which results in Jesus revealing himself as the Messiah. And we see transformation. We see a woman with the confidence to go to others and say, come and see this man. I think he is the real deal. I think that he is the Messiah. We see healing as in the Japanese art of kintsugi. She has had an encounter with Jesus, and yes, she bears scars, but he heals them and he transforms them, and he transforms her into a person of beauty, joy, and excitement and confidence, and she wants to share that experience with her community. She wants everyone to experience this love, healing, and hope, whatever their situation. I wonder, how does this resonate with you this morning? The Samaritan woman, clearly attractive and intelligent, was still not living her best possible life. Her encounter with Jesus did not change her past. She would always be that woman. But something happened. She experienced love, forgiveness, and God's acceptance. She said yes to the living water. Her circumstances may never be perfect. She may always have to go to that well to get water. But now she is different. She is transformed. And that transformation, I believe, will allow her to become part of the community, to seek God in all her actions, and to live a life in obedience to him. And that would bring her fulfillment, joy, and peace. So what would the best possible life look like for you this morning? Have you accepted the water offered by the living Christ? If you have not, then today is an excellent day to say yes and to ask Jesus to enter your life and to show you the way. Are you struggling to stay faithful to God as you seek to do his will and to be obedient to him? then I want to encourage you this morning. We were not promised a trouble-free life, but we were promised a God who would never leave us or forsake us. Where are you in the story this morning? Think about the story. Where are you? Are you an onlooker? Are you the woman or indeed the man at the well? Are you scandalized by Jesus' behavior as the disciples were? Are you one of the townspeople looking at this transformed woman and wanting something of what she has? How is God speaking to you this morning?